there, YouTube. So, I'm just about finished, well, almost to the point where I can drive the cruiser. And I don't have anything else lined up for the D110. So I thought it was time to look at the old Trailfinder. Now if you've seen my rig review on this, you know it wasn't a full Trailfinder 2. I've never had a Trailfinder 2 kit. I just pieced it together. I really like that chassis, and for a couple years I never could afford to buy one, so I was just buying little by little, and I ended up with an extra set of the RC 4-wheel drive T-Rex 60 axles, and I had enough leaf components from some other builds. I made it work, and they were a little bit big for that setup. They're a little bit wider, just a tiny little bit, and they're bulky. And I was never really happy with how that turned out, but I was happy it was at least a roller. I drove it around once. It didn't do very well, but I finally I had another Bruiser chassis laying around, and I did have the Yoda axles on it, and I decided I didn't want to build another Hilux, so I took the front axle from the Bruiser and I've gone ahead and put it on the Trailfinder, and I readjusted the leaf spring so it fits like the standard Trailfinder axle does. But the problem with the rear axle, and you can see I've got one of each here. This is the Bruiser Yoda, and this is the Trailfinder 2 Yoda. And the leaf spring mounts are in different places. The Bruiser, the rear of the chassis, is a good bit wider than the Trailfinder chassis. This is more common. I think you can put these axles on even the high lifts, or the Deland, or the Trailfinder 1 or Trailfinder 2, or the same width as the axial. They're a lot more universal. The Bruiser was old-fashioned, and it's a very scale looking chassis, but they don't interchange much with them. So I did have to put this one up for sale on eBay, and I did go ahead. Luckily now the Yoda 2 axles are out. These have gotten a little cheaper. I think I got this for about 52, 53 bucks shipped on eBay. And it looks like it's new from probably one of the ready to run trucks that somebody is parting out on eBay. It's a good way to find bits and pieces. So I was running short on I never had all the complete Trailfinder 2 leaf spring for the rear. And I had the springs, I had the perches, but the shackles, it's got a bracket that drops down, and it just never was quite right. So instead of trying to piece it together again and make it half work, I went ahead and got the 4-link kit. After seeing I got that the other Hilux back there. It's got an RC 4-wheel drive 4-link kit, and that's on the T-Rex 60 axles. And their links and stuff are pretty good. I like the way the setup is. And after building the D110 and the cruiser kit, and seeing their 4 links and 3 links, I thought I'd go ahead and give it a shot. The way leaf spring stuff's so expensive to buy on eBay, and this I think was around 40 bucks, and it comes with the axle truss and all the rod ends, the rods, all the hardware. So I'm finally going to have a Trailfinder 2, basically. We're going to 4-link the rear. I do have some other 155 wheels coming, and I'm going to try out. I'm not 100% if they're going to work or not. These are reversed. The person I got these from, swapped this is the normal outside, the shallow face. So that's the outside now, the deep dish. It really doesn't make them stick out much, if any more, like as far away from the side, but it's just a different look. It's not bad, but I like the Pitbull tires. I think I'm going to keep those, and I'm going to try them on these new rims I got to see if I can't bring in the width, the track width, a little bit, just for more scale. That's why I always liked the original Tamiya Hilux the one with the original one, not the Bruiser, not the Mountaineer, but the one that set low with the lockable front hubs, because it had a little bit narrower width. And that was all in the wheels because they were the same axles as the Bruiser, minus the locking part in the front. But it just looks more scale if you know, you could tuck a little bit more of the tire. I mean, these are pretty big tires, so they're going to stick out a little bit even in a real truck. But just if I could bring them in another 4-5 millimeters, that would be ideal. But anyway, we're going to wait for the wheels to get here. But I figured I've got videos uploading right now for the Cruiser and finishing that up. Go ahead and start on this guy. And yeah, so we'll take the body off here and we'll get ready to start. I did want to talk about the body here for a minute. This was the first Mojave body that I bought. I think it was white. It was one of the white ones when they first came out with the different color options. And I bought it originally to put on my Bruiser Raptor, which was the first complete scale truck I'd bought in a long time. And they had them on sale, and it was a pretty good deal. So I wanted the hard body though. I didn't want that crappy Lexan body they had. So yeah, I did go all out with it, and it was real pretty, shiny and maroon. I've got the CC hand emblems, CC hand marker lights, and tail lights. And this bumper, I still can't remember where I got it. It's solid CNC machine, but it bolts to the body. It's pretty nice. Got the rubber mirrors, got the Tamiya interior, and the CC hand door panels. I'd love to have their dash, but it's like 130, 120 bucks shipped from China, or even that much if you can find it for sale here. That's just a lot of money for something you can't really see a whole lot of. But well, maybe one day. And I've got some carpet in there and a shifter, and try to do it as nice as I could. Some few scale things. I did make the roll bar out of I think that's brake line. It's just JB welded together because I didn't have the means to weld it, and I never still haven't figured out how to braze. I can braze copper pipe, fix a plumbing leak, but I can't braze two brake lines together to make a little roll bar. This is one of those bodies I like. It's special to me. It's been my first experiences with weathering. It's not perfect, but it's something I can keep tinkering with. Let's take a look at the frame here. I'll show you what I've done already. Now, I did, on the D110, I stole the Trailfinder 2 battery plate with electronics mounting spot. So I did on this, instead of I could never find one for sale on eBay, and it's just not one of those things you run across a whole lot of individually. They usually come with the whole chassis set. So as you can see in the background there, I do have another Cruiser chassis, and I don't have plans for that yet. That was just a really good deal. I think I got that chassis with links, all the hardware from the kit, bumpers and body mounts for, it was like 60 bucks shipped. And I mean, that's just a Jalan 2 with the Cruiser bumpers. That was a pretty good deal. I mean, the link set alone for the 4-link and the 3-link sell for, I think, like 40 bucks. That's, you know, that's not even from RC 4-wheel drive. That's from someone that's parted it out. So I thought that was a good deal. I had that extra transfer case I just threw in there for looks. Figure it can sit around the shop right now. Maybe I drum up some ideas, but I did steal the battery tray from it. So I've got 2 Jalan 2 battery plates in here. One for my electronics, one for the battery. And everything fits pretty good. The ESC does hit the bottom of the interior, makes the body mounts a little tight. But I think if I move it back just a hair, it'll fit up into the hump in the Tamiya interior set. But right now I'm not worried about that. I've got my, I think this was a orange RC. Obviously it's orange. Those are compatible with the Spectrum controllers, and they're a good bit cheaper, so I've had a couple of those. Just the stock Tamiya can motor. It's a high torque servo. It's not metal gear or ball bearing. It's like a $12 servo. It's not amazing, but it's all I got right now, so I figured we'd just use it. And these are still the plastic bumper and let's knock that over. Plastic bumper and plastic rock guards. I mean, they had all that for $10. I got that on eBay. That's not bad. I do have one issue in the front already. I'm using the, let's see if I can zoom back in here. Using the axial shocks, which I like, but that's them all the way bottomed out. So I'm gonna have to go to a shorter shock, and I'm not sure what that's gonna be yet. I was gonna wait and see how the back turned out. The way the shocks mount on the TF2 on the back, the longer shock will probably work. So I'm gonna have to find something different for the front. And you see, I've got it tied down right now. It's one of these releasable zip ties. I can even get that off of there. Trying to soften up my springs a little bit. It's been sitting like that for a few days. So after putting these axles on it, these leaf springs still seemed a little stiff, so well, I think this zip tie came from a TLT kit, a little Tamiya with the TLT axles. One of my first crawler builds. See, not a whole lot of travel there. Let's see what we can do about those shocks. But moving around the back, I've got everything stripped out. I've got the little fuel cell taken out. So let's tear into this kit and see what it takes. Alright, so we got it all dumped out here. These are our main mounting brackets that go in. I think it has the spots for them already. Yeah, up there by the transfer case mount. Place to mount those from the factory, which is a pretty good plan ahead. It does have plastic rod ends. I was hoping for what that cost it would come with some of their metal ones, but that's what we get, I guess. It's got the same axle truss as it's what's on the Jalon 2 kits with the drop down brackets. You got 4 75mm, no, I'm sorry, you got 2 75mm rods and 2 81mm rods, and a whole mess of hardware that I'm trying not to lose. And pretty good clear instructions, typical with RC 4-wheel drive. I will say that for them. Their instructions are usually pretty clear, very technical, very not a whole lot of confusion involved. It's pretty straightforward. About like I've always had good luck with Tamiya kits. Their instructions are always very clear. I've only put together one axial, so I don't even remember much about that, so I don't have that one anymore. So I'm just going to do a few steps and show you where we're at. Alright, I just did the first step is to remove something on the rear shackle mounts on the chassis. I don't have those on mine already. So I went ahead and did step 2, and I did run into a problem. None of the hardware is in bags labeled like it is with the kit, so I just had to kind of flip ahead and see what sizes I have and guesstimate. Luckily it's not a very long instruction manual, so I see I've got 16mm, 12mm, 14mm, and 8mm. And just, yeah, I've got so many of each, so it made sense. So now I've got them all separated over here. But I've got the axle truss on and the front lower link mounts that go between it. And the next step is to put the links together. Shouldn't take real long. While I'm making the links, I did want to share a little tip. After putting together 2 Jalon 2s, have a small screwdriver to put through your rod end. That way you save your fingers when you're tightening up the threaded screw that I think I put together the D110. My fingertips were a little raw. There's so many links in that. This will save you a little trouble in it, just a little easier on you. Did want to talk about the tools I'm using real quick. I've got these. This is old Team Integy. And these all aluminum. I've had this set for, oh Lord, at least 15 years. It came with nut drivers as well. And you know, the little 1.5 millimeter, you always break that. And this one broke on me finally. And I just want to warn you to be careful when buying stuff online with when it comes to tools, because I needed a new one of these to match my set. And it was like, I want to say it was like $12 to $15 shipped. And this is what I got. And it's tiny. And I can't keep the bit in there. It keeps turning. And then it'll spin free. And then it's already rounded off on two sides. Same, still says Team Energy, looks exactly the same. I thought I was buying the same thing, but you can see what I got. I got hosed. So I went down to the local hobby shop, picked up this guy. It's heavy, solid, nice, hardened steel. Or at least that's hardened steel. But this was like, it was only like 12 bucks. And so far it's been great. It has not come loose at all. And this is the 1.5 millimeters, the one it always gives you trouble. It's the one for your pinion gear and for your drive shafts. For a lot of drive shafts, some of them are a little bit bigger now, but plus it's just important to support your local hobby shops, because there's so few and far between nowadays. I remember when I was a little kid, there used to be hobby shops everywhere. We'd go to a different one every day in the summer. My dad would take me after he got off work, and I'd just look at all the model cars and all the RC stuff. Heck, I even remember when I was little, I used to go down to Michael's, and they had Tamiya kits above their models all the way down the aisle. I remember seeing the high lifts, or the bruisers and the Wild Willies and stuff like that. And that was, but now it's even here in the United States, it's really hard to find Tamiya kits and stuff like that without shopping online. But yeah, I mean, I buy a ton online. I bought these axles and this thing, and because nobody around here sells much crawler stuff. And down here in Texas, it's Traxxas country, and everybody stocks Traxxas. They even got Traxxas at Pet Boys auto parts store, because they make Traxxas here in the Dallas area. So I can't find everything I need, but I try to get some stuff here locally just to help try and keep some of these hobby shops around, because I might have to go to one here in a couple days for some little odds and ends that it's just easier to do it that way. But anyway, I'll end that rant. I got my rod ends built, and this is a 75 and a 75 millimeters. Get the angled tips. And I won't make you watch all this. I'll go ahead and throw these all together, and then we'll jump to the next step. Alright, got the rods put together on the brackets. Tell me this isn't so well thought out. It has two mounting holes here and here, and it's already got a machined in indention for the bolt, or the screw, I'm sorry, to stick through just a little bit on that bottom piece. So it's got two forward mounting holes and then a notch in there for that to stick through. That's pretty impressive. They really thought this chassis out when they built it. So make sure I'm gonna, oops, drop stuff. Make sure I've got everything in the right place here. This is looking for two 8mm screws, and I put it in the wrong spot. Seems really far forward, but that's where it's calling for. I'm gonna go ahead and throw those on because I need to move it all around, and that's not gonna be fun to watch. Alright, I got those on. Did have an issue. I tried to take one back off because I had put the upper link in the wrong hole. Just wasn't paying attention. And I ended up stripping out both of the screws on that side. They're wonderfully high quality screws there. So luckily they are tight. But if I do need to take this off, they're going to have to be drilled out. They're just an 8mm. I've got plenty of those laying around. I was going to go ahead and replace them, but can't get it out. Now here's what we're looking at so far. It's looking an awful lot like the Jalond chassis. The next step is to connect the bottom with the M3x14s. But I have an extra set of... yeah, I have an extra set of 16mm. So, what does it screw into? Oh, I guess it's just threaded. Okay. This is pretty straightforward. That thread feels really loose. Let's get it started. This is probably not the most exciting video I've done yet. Zoom out a little bit, you can see where I'm working. Camera doesn't want to play. Alright, let's go ahead and tighten these down. And I do have some of my axial shocks. I do have to find the springs for them real quick and throw them back together. And I'm guessing they bolt to the standard position. I don't see why they wouldn't. May have to move the... oh, move that? Let's see, the instructions don't go any further than connecting the links, so we may have to just wing it and do the rest of it. The next step is the top link. See if they kept us a good pinion angle. This one just has a nut and bolt. What are these extra parts I've got here? Let's go back and see if we missed anything. Don't see anything. They gave us these extra spacers, but they're not for... they didn't show them on any of the links. They are these kind of spacer. Tapered. So, I don't know what's up with that. I'll double check everything here and see. The top mount is just, it just shows the long bolt going through the upper mount and the arms. Let me do this from the beginning. That's why. Well, I'll go ahead and do this off camera. You don't need to hear me cussing. Alright, well, I've been working on this for a little bit and got an issue with the shocks. They hit the upper truss mount here on the top bolts, and I can shim them out. I don't want to do too far, and I think I'm going to have to bring the tops out back a little further too. And I thought you could move this truss over back, but I took it out and you can't. It looks like there's other mounting points for it here, but it's not. It's actually cut out into the rail. So I'm going to tinker with this a little bit more and see if I can't get these to work for now until I can find some better shocks that fit, that aren't just internal spring shocks. Alright, what a pain in the rear. I had to... there's probably 6mm of space and find longer bolts in the top, and there are 7mm of spacers and almost 30mm bolts on the bottom, just to get it to not hit the leaf perch, the leaf mount. And so now that's what I have to do. I'm going to have a new problem. Back end sits down too low. and it's got pretty crazy flex. So either maybe raise it with better shocks, different kind of shocks and springs, or maybe go ahead and do the front. It does give you a lot better pinion angle. I mean, the front's got a terrible pinion angle, just like typical leaf sprung truck on here does. My springs have popped back up. This is bottomed out on the shock, so they're a little looser, but not completely. And I don't just have one spring on there. I've got the helper spring as well. So I found you just do one spring, you end up bending them all up, and it just doesn't work. So, for the heck of it, we go ahead and put the body back on, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so I did fix it a little bit. Got the body mounted up, and then I remembered those axial shocks are adjustable, so I cranked down about 1/2 inch. I don't know if I can see that. Cranked them down a little bit, got a little bit higher, not too stiff. It's still way softer than the leaf springs, but get a good bit more height, ride height out of it. So overall, I like it. The wheelbase is still correct. The shocks work for now. They got to do something with the front shocks before anything, because they just aren't working. They're limiting too much travel. The leaves might be soft enough, but I can't get enough flex out of them to see. And I don't. That's on the highest mounting point on the shock hoop. So I don't know. But for now, it's an improvement. Get these other wheels and tires, and we'll keep working on the shocks. We'll see where we're at. Hopefully, in the coming week, I've got some work started on my off-road crawling park. I'm gonna call it that, and hopefully we can get some of these. I want to get this out there and test it. Definitely get the cruiser and the D110 out. Try to get everything out. Do one big video. It's hard because I only got one driver, me. But see what we can do. We'll get outside and see how these things perform that we've been building. But anyway, thanks for watching, and keep checking back. I'll keep updating stuff as we do more.